Hello mech warriors and welcome back to the Mech Lab, where we try to be a better mech commander every day. Last time we covered the best mechs of 3050 and that list was a little bit light on good mechs. Now, in 3061 here, at the end of the clan invasion period, I've found myself with the exact opposite problem. There are way too many great Inner Sphere mechs available for me to put them all in one video. So, we'll be splitting them up into different categories. Today we're talking about flankers. Scout mechs, flankers, backstabbers, whatever you want to call them. These are the speedy boys of the Inner Sphere that are gonna get into your enemy's rear arc and blow their back armor apart, or they're gonna be providing information for other mechs and retreating before they can be caught. As usual, we are choosing these mechs based on their battle value efficiency, as well as their overall battlefield effectiveness, and armor protection does come into it quite a bit. However, for our first pick, it's mostly just due to its battle value efficiency. This is the Fireball 7D, a mech with incredible speed and an incredible price tag. 385 battle value is just about as cheap as it gets for a mech. With 1117 movement, this is faster and more flexible than most hover vehicles. It can't fly over water, but it can go through forest and is much better at climbing hills, which on most maps is a more helpful thing to have. Now, as I said, armor protection is important here. Unfortunately, the armor protection on a 20-tonner can only get so good, but it is pretty hard to take down. It can take a PPC shot anywhere without actually losing the section, except for the arms, which will die to a large laser, but both of the weapons are torso mounted, and the weapons really aren't what this mech is about. It has a Streak SRM2 and a machine gun. It's going to do pretty pathetic damage, and is very explosive, especially because it doesn't have case, but it's got that XL engine, so you're pretty likely to just lose the mech if it gets shot anyways, but you don't care about that. 385 battle value, it's going to move fast, it's going to maintain that 4 TMM, it's going to teleport behind your enemies and kick them so that they fall down. That is this mech's purpose. Take it at 5'3" and watch as your enemies pee themselves in terror at the little ankle biter that is kicking the backs of their knees. We're going up in tonnage a little bit with the Dart 6S. This mech is incredibly cheap as well, but it now has the armor protection that it's significantly harder to take down. With 914 movement, it's still very fast, 641 battle value, puts it in the budget range for sure, and its 10 single heat sinks don't really make that big of a difference, since it only has 2 center torso mounted medium lasers. Now that's very important because unlike a lot of mechs on this list, this has a fusion engine. So it can lose the arms and side torsos, it simply doesn't care about them, those are just shields. It's going to run behind you, it's going to blast you with 2 medium lasers, and it's going to be pretty hard for you to take down. Clan large pulse lasers are going to struggle to get through the legs here with 10 armor, as well as the center torso, same deal. The side torsos, again, a little bit vulnerable, but there's nothing in there. You don't need to worry about losing them, so they're just ablative armor. Overall, the Dart 6S, very optimized mech, great little zombie, incredibly fast. I would take this over a Mongoose in some cases. It's a lot cheaper than a Mongoose. It doesn't have the firepower of the Mongoose, and it doesn't have the armored protection of the Mongoose, but it does beat it on speed and cost. Staying in the 25-ton weight bracket, we've got the Koto P2. This is a little cheaper than the Dart, has that XL engine, has a bit of machine gun ammo, which is protected by case, doesn't really matter. If you lose the torso, the mech is knocked out of action, but most importantly, this mech has a ton of firepower and 10 armor on every important section. Large pulse laser in the center torso makes this mech extremely dangerous, very good at hunting down other light mechs with its 812 speed and highly accurate pulse laser, very good at blowing out enemy rear armor with that large pulse laser as well, able to get up into point blank and hit you with 2 machine guns and a small laser as well. This mech overall has some good hitting power on a fast frame. It's a little bit less durable because of that XL engine and the ammo, but it's good enough. For 631 battle value, you cannot go wrong with the Koto P2. Moving up in the weight scale, but not too much in the battle value department, is the Owens 1A. There's lots of good variants of the Owens. I think it's one of the better carriers of a Narc that you can get, but I like this Backstabber version. It's got the active probe, it's got a C3 computer, so you can link it into a C3 network on the cheap with only 680 battle value cost. It has very close range weapons, so it wants to get right up next to enemies and blow them to bits with its little weapons here. The small pulse laser, very nice, good at taking out enemy infantry. 2-streak SRM2s, also great firepower here. Lots of little hits to try and get crits on enemy open components, and the tag allows you to guide in missile fire. So a great scout mech, decent backstabber, great armor, 15 armor on the legs. It can take an ERPPC or Gauss rifle to the leg without going internal. Same with the center torso. Left and right torsos pretty well protected as well. Can take an SRM plus a Clan Large Pulse Laser without going internal. Pretty important because it does have that XL engine. 812 movement, great armor, pretty good battle value cost. The Owens 1A is a solid scout. Next here, I'd like to talk about the Scarabeus. Now, there's two variants of the Scarabeus available. Both are 10-15 base movement. One of them you will see has the exact same armament, but is a little bit cheaper, and that is because it doesn't have triple strength Myamer. Triple strength Myamer allowing you to double this unit's melee damage. It is a little finicky because it has the 10 heat sinks and not enough heat to actually regulate itself, so you're gonna have to shut off some of these heat sinks in order to get it up to that 9 heat and activate that triple strength Myamer. Then you can hit some people really hard with the hatchet, or just kick and try and kick people's legs off. 12 damage kicks with triple strength Myamer on a 30-tonner that is this fast are absolutely terrifying. It's gonna run behind you and kick your freaking leg off, man. 11-17 movement with the triple strength Myamer active is also very scary. Meanwhile, without the triple strength Myamer, it's still a great mech. Got the ECM, got a couple small weapons that it can use up close and personal. Hatchet increases its flexibility in using melee attacks on things that are, say, above it on a hill. Decent armor protection, a little bit squishy with that XL engine, and a little bit more on the expensive side, 846 battle value, but overall not too bad. And ECM, really useful on a fast unit. You can get into that, say, 6 range with your medium lasers and get that ECM onto enemy Artemis, or use it to disrupt enemy ECM using the ECCM feature. This mech is so fast that you're pretty much not going to be able to stay away from it, meaning that your enemy will be forced to deal with it. And with 4 TMM on its movement, it's going to be pretty hard for them to bring it down. So with or without the TSM, a great mech to have in your arsenal. Next up, we have my pick for most disappointing unit in this list, and that's only because it doesn't have double heat sinks. For some reason, they jammed an XL engine and the new pulse laser technology into the Venom, but didn't give it double heat sinks. Now, this does result in a small battle value discount on the weapons because of how maximum heat generation works, so it ends up being a little bit cheaper than it might have been otherwise, but I'd rather have the ability to jump and fire all of my weapons. Thank you very much. But great armor protection, 10 on everything. All of the weapons are torso mounted, meaning that you have to kill the mech in order to stop it from firing at you. Pulse lasers on a jumpy mech are obviously extremely good, and it has 3 of them, so it can run and fire its pulse lasers without gaining too much heat, just 2, and it's going to take a pretty concerted effort from your opponent to take it down. Again, 10 armor on the legs gives it great protection on its mobility, and 13 and 14 respectively on the side and center torsos makes it pretty hard to bring down overall. Great ability to dash in behind people and blast them with pulse lasers, great ability to hunt enemy light mechs with those pulse lasers, and it can definitely just fill that classic jump kicker role. I would just recommend when you're jumping, only fire 1 or 2 medium pulse lasers depending on where your heat scale is sitting. If you do not, you will find yourself in a world of hurt. Next up, we have one of the mechs on the slower side of the scale here, the Longshot 1B. However, it makes up for that slow speed by being very heavily armored. 2 SRM6, 2 medium lasers, 2 small lasers. This is an unholy terror of firepower on a 711 frame. The armor protection is sacrificed on the arms, but that's totally fine because all of these weapons, except for the Narc, are torso mounted, and you have 2 tons of SRM ammo, meaning that if you want, you can bring some Infernos to burn out some toads. So, good against elementals, great against enemy mechs, extremely good at crit seeking with 2 SRM6s, great armor protection, 10 on the legs, 14 on the center torso. Again, the XL engine makes it a little bit squishy, and 711 is pretty much the baseline that I would want for any mech on this list, unless it has jump jets in addition to that. But this is a pretty great Narc carrier. It benefits from the Narc directly, and it also has some good backup weapons, so it doesn't care as much if the Narc doesn't land. Overall, for just under 900 battle value, the Longshot 1B is a heavily armed flanker with decent armor and some great utility. Next up, we have one of the few medium mechs on this list. As I said, 696 pretty much only counts as a flanker because it has the jump jets, but the Firestarter Omni-Mech has many great variants. I like the variant with LRMs as a skirmisher, but these two are both great flankers, and the OX is arguably one of the best scouts in the entire game at this time because it has a Bloodhound active probe. This is an advanced version of an active probe that has better sensors. It also has the Angel ECM suite. This allows it to both block and provide ECM at the same time, or it can provide either one of those plus ghost targets if you are using the ghost targets optional rule. It has a large X-Pulse laser as its primary weapon. Normally not that great of a weapon in my opinion. However, when you have a weapon like this on a mech that only has pretty much one primary weapon, the heat sinking issues that you normally run into with X-Pulse lasers aren't really present. Decent armor, 15 plus on the legs and torsos, 12 on the arms, and 20 on the CT gives this some great durability, decent movement at 696, a couple of flamers which allow it to set forests on fire to provide itself some smoke cover, and a Streak SRM2 to give it a little bit of crit-seeking backup. Honestly, I would love to see this replaced with maybe 1 or 2 more lasers or something, but beggars can't be choosers. In a similar vein, we have the OA variant. It carries an LB-10X autocannon. I mean, this is just a great weapon. 2 tons of ammo give it great flexibility. It can use either the cluster or the slug shots to open enemies up or crit seek them out. Now, as a rule, I have excluded mechs with X-Pulse lasers on this list, other than specifically the Firestarter OX. The reason being I wanted to talk about the Firestarter anyways, and this one just makes a really great scout because of the advanced technology that's on board. It's the only mech in this era that actually has both of these for the Inner Sphere. It is an experimental mech, so it's going to be pretty uncommon, but you can technically take it based on master unit list. If you'd like to know the other X-Pulse laser mechs that didn't make this list, leave a comment down below and I will tell you what they are. But the OA, under 1,000 battle value for a mobile LB-10X autocannon, really great. Nearly 1,200 for the Firestarter OX. It's a little bit expensive, but it's got some really great technology on it, and the large X-Pulse laser, when it's pretty much the only weapon on the mech, is actually pretty darn good. It doesn't quite line up with the planned large pulse laser, but it does have some chops as a good light hunting weapon. Next, we have a pretty darn good skirmisher, the Talon 5V, 812 movement, great armor, maxed out armor for a 35 tonner, meaning that it has 16 on the legs, 17 on the center torso, and 12 everywhere else. 2 medium lasers for close-up personal defense, and a PPC, which allows it to skirmish with the best of them. Keeping at that 12 range with that 812 movement is very possible, and it can dash in to range 6, blast you with all of the energy weapons once there is an exploitable moment. I really like the Talon. Starting to get up there in the battle value cost. 1075 is a little bit expensive, but having a mobile PPC on the field can be a game changer. Get this thing in behind enemies using the fast movement and start blasting their rear armor with that PPC. That can be really effective. And when the enemy cavalry tries to engage you, you're fast enough that you can get away from them. And because the weapons are arm mounted, you can very reliably fire behind you, which is very important so that you can fire at them while running away. Now, if you are a competitive Battletech player, you knew this one was coming. You know it, you love it. It's the Wraith TR1, arguably the best mech in the game. 1287 battle value, 55 tons with that 11 damage kick means that it can penetrate many light mechs legs, and also one-hit kill elementals. So if you're into toad stomping, this is your mech. 7-11-7 movement makes it so hard to kill with 152 armor, 20 on the legs, 23 on the center torso, 14 on the arms. Would like to see 15 on there, but you can't have everything. 5.57 on the rear torsos is very acceptable, means that it can take a medium laser without going internal, which is great, and 18 on the side torsos is quite protected. Now the armament here is extremely good. Basically we've got an upgraded version of the Venom, large pulse laser, 2 medium pulse lasers. It's going to hit you pretty hard at close range. Even when it jumps, it's gonna be only at a -1 to hit with those pulse lasers. Anyone who's faced the Wraith knows that it is some overpowered cow dung, as you might put it more politely in gamer terms. Now, the weaknesses of this mech include a small heating problem. You can fire with a large pulse laser and 1 medium pulse laser while jumping without overheating too badly, but if you try and fire everything all at once, you are going to start slowing down pretty quick. And also, of course, having an XL engine, if you knock out the side torso, the mech is dead. Getting behind the Wraith is a difficult task, because it's probably going to be going last on your opponent's turn every time. But if they lose initiative, your flanker can outflank their flanker, and you can try to get into that juicy side torso and blow out that XL engine. However, if you don't have pulse lasers of your own, that's going to be a very difficult prospect. So the Wraith, great objective runner, very fast, quite durable, has incredibly good firepower for a jumpy mech with the pulse lasers. A large pulse laser especially, able to really crack open enemy rear armor with that 9 damage. 11 damage kicks plus the 9 damage pulse laser means that many mechs will have their legs opened up by a combination of being hit by both. Take this unit at 4.4 or 4.3, you will not regret it. The 1287 battle value is the icing on the cake. It's so cheap. You can afford to take 2 or 3 of these things and just swarm enemies with them, although I wouldn't recommend doing that if you want to maintain friendships in Battletech. Are there any flanker mechs that you think I missed? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really helps out the channel a lot. I've been doing a lot of streaming lately. Please go and check out the live tab on my channel to see what I've been up to. If there's anything you're interested there, I stream at 5:30 p.m. EST just about every night. Thanks for watching so much, Mech Warriors, and have a great day.